Hey everybody, what's up? I'm about to get me some lunch here, but I thought I'd kind of read off the 2013 NCAA brackets. I'll provide a link down below so you guys can look at it yourself. But I'll say this, you know, I lived in Kansas for about 13 years, so I am going to say this. I am going to show some favoritism to the Jayhawks in a way because like I said, I was raised there for 13 years, so I got to show some favoritism to them. Sorry about that. I'm a little tired, but like I said, I got to show some favoritism towards them because they're a good team. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They're very good. I think everybody knows that. And so far, this year, and I think just like the year before, you got 3 teams from Kansas, from the state of Kansas in there. Now, I'm not going to knock the Cal Berkeley Bears. They are California, so you got to get behind. I got to root for them too. But like I said, this is shouldn't be surprising to anybody that you got the hold on a sec. It shouldn't be much of a surprise to anybody that you got Kansas State and Wichita State and Kansas all in there. Now, the question is, what matchups are going to be pretty good? Now, the South, I have to say, is going to be the toughest one. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, it's almost like right off the bat. Kansas is going to, they got to face Western Kentucky. And so far, as history has shown us, a 16 team has not come close to advancing to the second round. Now, I'm not saying Western Kentucky can't do that, but, they're going to be playing in front of a very rowdy, I mean this honestly, very rowdy Kansas Jayhawk crowd. So if I'm Western Kentucky of any kind, if I'm a Western Kentucky player, I should say, I pray and hope that the fan base is there. Again, like I was saying, I pray and hope the fan base there doesn't, become a huge distraction because they're going to be in the Sprint Center. Let's be honest. They're going to be in Sprint Center, and that's going to be kind of hard to play in, considering, like I said, it's going to be an all Kansas crowd. Anyway, I expect Kansas to win, but probably get a good game out of Western Kentucky. And then what's funny is the winner of that has to face the winner of Villanova, North Carolina. And North Carolina, I believe, is going to want to definitely bounce back from what was not a good season and beat Villanova. But Villanova, knowing this will be their last time representing the Big East in the NCAA tournament before they go on to be a Catholic 7 school or whatever they're going to be, I'm sure they're going to want to prove themselves as well. So, my honest opinion, I think we're going to have a good NCAA tournament, and there are going to be some upsets. There's no doubt about that. Going to be some upsets, there's no doubt about that whatsoever, folks. But now the question is, who wins? Well, Honestly, folks, I gotta go with North. I gotta go with North. I gotta go with the inevitable matchup, which is going to be North Carolina and Kansas. That's what I feel the second round is going to be. That's what I feel the second round is going to be, folks. It's going to be North Carolina and Kansas facing each other in the second round. That's what I feel is going to happen. Now, I know some of you may not believe that or want to see it happen, but let's face facts. It's it's bound to happen. No matter what we say or do, it's bound to happen. So that's who I feel is going to advance there in the second round. And then VCU and Akron, I think I got to go with VCU on that one. Michigan, South Dakota State. This right here, Michigan, South Dakota State, is what they call a trap game. But I got to go with Michigan. So I would expect VCU and Michigan to face each other. And the winner of that will face the winner of Kansas, North Carolina. And then you got UCLA and Minnesota. I got to go with UCLA. They're going to want to bounce back from the loss to Oregon. And Florida, I believe, is going to move on. So you got Florida and UCLA going as well. I believe Oklahoma State's going to be a little too much for San Diego State. So I expect Oklahoma to join Kansas in the third round, I should say, of the tournament. And I expect them to place Georgetown, even though people are saying Georgetown's got to look out for Florida Gulf Coast. I believe Georgetown is going to have a good game, but they're going to advance. So this is what I see for the second round. Out of the South, I see Kansas against North Carolina, VCU and Akron, Kansas, North Carolina, VCU, Michigan, UCLA, Florida, Oklahoma, Georgetown. Now going to the Sweet 16 out of that, I believe Kansas is going to win a tight one with I believe they're going to win a tight one with North Carolina, but I believe Kansas, still being in Kansas City, is going to advance. They're going to have the home field advantage. And I feel we're going to get Michigan and Kansas in a Sweet 16 matchup. That's what I believe. And I believe we're going to get a Florida-Oklahoma Sweet 16 matchup. And I'm looking for the Elite Eight to be Kansas and Florida. So, no, wait a minute. Hold on. I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. UCLA, Florida. I expect UCLA to move on and face Florida. And Oklahoma to face Georgetown. And I expect Florida and Oklahoma to meet in the Sweet 16, and I expect Florida and Kansas to meet in the Elite Eight. And I believe we'll have Kansas wanting a little bit more, advancing out of that into the Final Four. And then the East, Indiana, no doubt, is going to move on. North Carolina State and Temple, I believe Temple is going to upset the Wolfpack. California, UNLV, I don't know about this one, but I'm hoping, I'll be a little biased here, I hope California wins and advances. And that would basically set up California to face Syracuse. That's right. So basically it would be Indiana against Temple, and the winner of that, in my opinion, will face the winner of California, Syracuse. And then we got Butler against Bucknell. I believe Butler's going to win this. And they will face Davidson. I'm going with an upset over Marquette. And so you'll have Butler, Davidson. And then I believe Colorado will beat Illinois. And they will face Miami, Florida. Miami U, that is. So this is how it's going to go down. Indiana, I believe, is going to win the second round game. They're going to beat Temple, who will beat North Carolina State, and then they will face Syracuse in the Sweet 16. Indiana and Syracuse. I believe Butler will beat Bucknell. Butler will beat Bucknell. Beat Davidson, who will upset Marquette. And I believe it'll be Butler and Miami in the Sweet 16. And I believe Butler is going to stop the Hurricanes from advancing. And they will go to the Elite Eight. And they will face Indiana. That's what I believe is going to happen. I believe Indiana is going to beat Syracuse. And you're going to have Indiana and Butler. I believe then for your first Final Four matchup, you'll have Indiana and Kansas. That's what I believe is going to happen on that side of things. Let me check my time here. That's what I believe is going to happen on that side of things. And then Louisville, they'll have to face whoever wins against North Carolina State and Liberty, but they will. And I believe they will face Missouri in the third round. Oklahoma State and Oregon, I believe Oregon is going to beat the Cowboys. I mean, the Cowboys are good, but I think Oregon is going to want a little bit more. And that will set up St. Louis and Oregon in the third round. And the winner of that will face Louisville in the Sweet 16. And I believe it will be Oregon against Louisville in the Sweet 16. And then we got Memphis against the winner of Middle Tennessee State and St. Mary's. Memphis, no doubt, is going to move on. And they will face Valparaiso. Valparaiso always seems to come out strong in this tournament. I believe they're going to give Michigan State a close game, and they're going to win a close game. They're going to upset the Spartans. So it's going to be Memphis and Valparaiso. And I believe Valparaiso is going to become a Cinderella again this year. But my personal opinion. And that means they'll be in the Sweet 16. And they will face, well, first of all, Cincinnati will beat Creighton. And Duke will beat Albany. So you're looking at Duke and Cincinnati in the third round. And then you're looking at Valparaiso and Duke in the Sweet 16. And then in the Elite 8, it will be Louisville and Duke, the obvious matchup there. And I'll get to who gets to the Final Four there. Then we got Gonzaga. They're going to win their second round match. They will face, in my opinion, being a little biased here, Wichita State in this third round. And then you got Wisconsin against Ole Miss. I believe Ole Miss will beat Wisconsin. Kansas State will face Ole Miss in the second round. And then you'll have in the Sweet 16 Kansas State, Gonzaga. And then Arizona will beat Belmont, I believe. New Mexico will beat Harvard. Notre Dame will beat Iowa State. And I believe Ohio State will beat Iota. So you'll be looking at Arizona. You'll be seeing New Mexico beat Arizona. Notre Dame, not Notre Dame, but Ohio State beating Notre Dame, thus setting up New Mexico and Ohio State in the Sweet 16. We will basically have Ohio State, Gonzaga in the Elite 8. And then Gonzaga, I believe, is going to beat them. And then your Final Four matchup will be Duke and Gonzaga on that side of things. On that side of the coin. And I believe, showing a little favoritism here, that we're going to have Kansas and Indiana in the Final Four. And then we'll also have Gonzaga and Duke. I believe we're going to have Gonzaga and Kansas. And I think that's going to be a good game. So that's my predictions my predictions of who I believe is going to get to the Final Four in the National Championship. But I'm not saying who the winner is yet. So comment down below and tell me what you think.